welcome to Milwaukee Plane Spotting. Today is Monday, April 24th, 2023.
Milwaukee purchase count 6141 7000 with
It's going on a little after 6 o'clock, 1600 hours, excuse me, 1800 hours. Not much going on right now. We are looking out to the northeast. We have a couple, we have one Southwest jet down there, and over to this other concourse terminal area. You can see a Delta 717, and I believe it is an A319, possibly 737. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle. All right, well, we should have some action coming in soon. Successful in getting Milwaukee approach and departures, live ATC. All right, so we have Southwest 737-700. I don't have a flight number. However, it does sound like we have APU running. That should start up soon. Well, as that Southwest flight sits there, in the headlines, heard recently from the good folks at Simple Flying that many European airlines, and I'm sure airlines outside of Europe, are pushing for single European sky. If you don't know what that is referring to one single ATC unit governing all of Europe. Right now, each respective nation, of course, has their own ATC. However, sometimes the effects of one nation, for example, if one nation's ATC were to go on strike, that could seriously impact other nations and flights coming to and from those respective nations. Apparently, this has been talked about on and off for the better part of 20 years, and many prominent European carriers like BA, British Airways, RyanAir, Lufthansa, and others are pushing for that. So we'll see what happens. Right now, there's no confirmation of anything. So this is Southwest 3405, service at Denver. And look over here, just above the terminal, see a pretty little fin, unmistakably JetBlue. That should be 2230, service to Boston. Speaking of JetBlue, their merger with Spirit still is receiving some pushback. As many of you probably know, JetBlue won the bid to purchase Spirit Airlines last year. It was in competition, really, with Frontier. There's concern over monopolies. JetBlue, of course, no stranger to having monopoly in the Northeast, especially with their Northeast alliance with American. Merging with Spirit will give them a very large share of the Florida market. Here we have that Southwest jet. There you go. Lining up. Again, Southwest 3404, Boeing 737-700, off to Denver.
3510, leveling 14,000 at Lister, information Zulu.
3510 watch approach, fly heading 270, descend and maintain 7,000, vector bridge approach, runway
100. All right, off to the Mile High City. Then and back.
6141, descend and maintain 4,000.
Let's go check out our friends going to Boston here on JetBlue. All right, so yeah, the merger with Spirit will give them a large share of the Florida market. Several states' attorneys generals, with California, Massachusetts, North Carolina, and there's one other one. Oh, New Jersey, have all put in motions to block the merger. Of course, each one of those states has large airline that calls home. So yeah, there might be some interest there. Interestingly enough, the Attorney General of Florida is supporting the motion, and if the merger goes through, apparently they will increase seat capacity in Fort Lauderdale by 50%. So definitely set Florida up for something it already does well, which is being a tourist attraction. Here we have JetBlue 2230 service to Boston. I don't know if you can hear the A220's brakes. Sounds a bit like a whale. Here we go.
Milwaukee approach, 26 transponders, squawk 4654. Where are you going?
Practice area.
Captain 6141, turn left heading 280, descend and maintain 2,800.
2,800, Captain 6141.
Airplane 4826, radar contact 2.5 miles to the southwest of the Racine Airport. The altitude leaving altitude climbing 2. Are you at Milwaukee departure? Radar contact, climb and maintain 13,000 and turn left direct.
All right, so we have NetJet, I believe is the name of this carrier, a Cessna Citation service to Teterboro.
636, Echo Mike. Milwaukee, first altimeter 3014. Advise hotel at Milwaukee, suspect big approach runway 28.
Right over here.
3014, we'll grab hotel.
That aircraft taxied from, just in the distance. These hangars here are often held for private flights, private jets, that sort of a thing. Here we go to New York.
3510, descending your discretion, maintain 2,800 and proceed directly to Mogi.
Direct bogey down to 2,800, Skywest 3510.
Airplane 4826, contact Milwaukee, approach 125.35.
935, Captain 41.
Here in the distance appears to be an MD-80 family of aircraft, private. I don't recognize the livery there. I've never seen it here in Milwaukee. MD-80 series is always one of my favorites, especially as a kid. American retired their fleet 2019. Apparently the last flight was Dallas to Chicago. More on that in a moment. We do have an arrival. We have an arrival coming in. All right, we have American Eagle Service from Chicago, CRJ 200.
5.35, Star 6 Comac Cadet.
These hops from Chicago to Milwaukee, Milwaukee to Chicago are amongst the shortest in the United States. I've taken that flight on a handful of occasions. You're only in the air about 15-20 minutes. We have the Air National Guard wing over there. It's 128 air refueling, I believe. Alright, so we see that fin there. Delta, of course, unmistakable. A321, Delta Flight 2040, service Milwaukee to Atlanta. I don't know if it's able to be seen here. The 717 also has its beacon lights on, so we'll be seeing that aircraft push back and a departure soon as well. In other aviation-related news, Tim O'Leary, Mr. O'Leary of RyanAir, CEO, longtime CEO, announced recently that as soon as it becomes safe to do so, they will resume service to Ukraine. Of course, the skies over Ukraine are closed. We're also looking at the Delta flight to Detroit. And an American CRJ. Oh, I believe this is the one that just came in from Chicago. We also have Delta Connection coming in here from Boston. So RyanAir will push back into Ukraine as soon as it becomes safe to do so. I'm sure a lot of infrastructure has been destroyed at the airports. Most famously, the Antonov 224, largest aircraft ever built, or flying until recently. Spruce Goose might have beaten that. RyanAir, of course, should not struggle to service Ukraine. For those that don't know, RyanAir on most, if not all of its 737 fleet have inbuilt stairs. No need for a jetway, no need for air stairs. Folks, I am mistaken. That American Eagle flight is not the one that just arrived from Chicago. This is a flight to Charlotte, 3456, I believe. And then that is Delta 1692, the 717 immediately behind.
You want to go left or right? Probably more to the right, I think. And when you're heading 3,000 downhill.
It will be a good thing, I think, for RyanAir to get into Ukraine as soon as they can. I'm sure there are a lot of expatriated people that want to be repatriated. RyanAir's aircraft and route network should well accommodate that. All right, here we go. American Eagle 3406, I believe. Service to Charlotte. here we have Delta 1692 lined up. So folks, we're using 19 right today. This is our north-south runway. South facing, of course, facing 19 degrees.
3000 and proceed directly to perfect.
Procedure is perfect and climb the other side except maintain 13,000 with straight 6476. 1100.
Rolls-Royce engines there. Climbing out to Detroit. That's another short flight. Not as short as Chicago. Imagine block time, wheels up, wheels down. 45 minutes, something like that. Panning back. Delta 2040, service to Atlanta. You heard an interesting story, also from the good folks at Simple Flying, about the importance of cabin humidity in flight. There's many things that you could think about that go into comfort, in-flight entertainment, seat comfort, seat pitch. You don't always think about cabin humidity, although after a long flight, you might be. Aircraft cabins, and cockpits for that matter, get quite dry at altitude. The air is recycled, as we know, and that's how, allegedly, that keeps us safe from contaminants and viruses and things like that. Apparently there was a recent study of sorts that was done on a flight from Europe to Chicago in which a researcher brought a mushroom on board and measured, it took its readings, if you will, and it was a normal looking mushroom, full of water, took humidity and temperature of the aircraft before departure. Here's Delta 2040, service to Atlanta, A321. Pulling out on its either IAE or CFM engines. Whichever ones it has. So the researcher took the mushroom on board and measured air humidity and temperature, and then an hour or so into the flight, I think they were flying from London, I do think so, took it again, and temperatures started to go up, relative humidity in the cabin started to go down. Upon landing in Chicago, relative humidity was under 10%. Temperatures had climbed several degrees with centigrade, probably Fahrenheit actually. But most critically, the mushroom itself had shrunken inside and shriveled. You can see quite potently the effects of the lack of humidity. Humidity is important for, among other reasons, keeping us safe from infections and contaminants, mucous membranes, that sort of a thing in our nose. Nasal passageways need humidity and moisture to function properly. If they're dried out, their ability to do their job significantly goes down and puts us at risk for picking up cold or flu or COVID or any type of bug that might be in and about an airport environment. You might be okay on the plane itself with that recycled air, but as soon as you're off at the aircraft and you're milling about very busy, potentially international airports, customs, that sort of a thing. Who knows what you might be exposed to, and your body hasn't had a chance to rehydrate in that short period of time. So we'll see what happens. A lot of the aircraft, as they are now, favor not having a whole lot of humidity. This humidity, of course, will corrode the materials of the aircraft. However, with some of the more composite fuselages that we're getting, and some of those composite materials, they're a little bit more resistant to humidity. So who knows, maybe we'll be able to see an increase 10 or 20% in relative humidity aircraft moving forward. This is that Delta Connection flight that arrived just a little bit ago from Boston.
Delta 2040, contact Chicago Center 123.8223. And what was the back half of that?
Lufthansa will be reactivating some of its A380s, which is a good sign for the recovery of the aviation market, especially around Europe, to and from Europe. I guess right now, some of those flights are being operated domestically, again on the A380, domestically, no doubt, to reacclimate crew to the aircraft, which have been sitting in storage for a few years now, since the pandemic first started. So that's a good thing, and biggest commercial aircraft in the sky, and it'll be nice to see them flying more. In unfortunate news, there is conflict in Sudan. Sudanese airspace is now closed, and there are large efforts to get people out of Sudan. Apparently, there was a Saudian aircraft that was on the tarmac in Khartoum, Sudan. It was destroyed, and another Saudi flight coming in, almost on finals, was turned around and flew all the way back to Jeddah. Part of the tower told them, hey, don't come here unless you want to have the same thing happen to your aircraft that happened to one of your company aircraft before. Learned that one on Flight Radar 24. So hopefully anyone that is stuck in the conflict zone that needs to get out is going to be able to get out, and hopefully this is as quick and bloodyless of a conflict as we can get. Certainly don't need any more war right now. You can see the windsock over there. We have winds coming from 150 degrees at 10 knots. So a little strong, nothing too crazy. Overall conditions here, I believe 7 degrees centigrade. There have been some rolling showers, snow, rain showers coming and going throughout the evening. It's a relatively nice early spring evening. Alright, so we have pushback of Southwest 378, service to St. Louis, Boeing 737-800.
2008,
just had pushback. Apparently 737 MAX deliveries are paused once again, this time due to a subcontractor using unconventional, I'm using air quotes, or non-standard manufacturing processes, unquote, which I think is another fancy way of saying they didn't follow the book, and it's affecting screws or nuts, bolts, something of that sort that connects the vertical stabilizer to the fuselage. So kind of important. Boeing, working with the FAA, has deemed this not worth grounding an entire fleet all 737 MAXs. However, all 737s, as I understand, all 737 MAXs manufactured since 2019 will need to have some work done of replacing these components. This time not Boeing's fault. There have been a lot of issues from Boeing over the last 5-10 years between the fateful crashes of the 737 MAX, both those MAX crashes, and then issues with the 787. This time not actually Boeing's fault, but it just goes to show you how absolutely critical it is to follow the book. It's important for Boeing to be able to get this right. Airbus and Boeing are the two biggest aircraft manufacturers in the world right now. Boeing still leads Airbus. But, you know, outside of the West, outside of Boeing and Airbus, and to a lesser extent Embraer, China is trying to develop, and Russia, but China is a bit more successful in developing their own commercial aviation manufacturing market. The Comac C919 now has flights. I believe already is flying within China, and I believe there might have been another carrier, possibly in Thailand or Indonesia, which has purchased one of those aircraft. O'Leary of RyanAir recently was saying that he thinks it's a good thing for the Comac, for the C919 to show up, as it will give a bit of competition for Boeing and Airbus, and hopefully lower the price per unit of aircraft, and increase competition. We shall see. We shall see. So here we got, again, Southwest 378, service to St. Louis. Appears to be cleared for immediate takeoff, 19 right. Boeing 737 next generation, climbing out on those CFM engines, folks. All right, we have United Express 3917 coming in. There we go. Coming in from Chicago, one of these hops between the Windy City and its neighbor to the north, and United Express. CRJ 200.
Castle 213 is at 9,000. 013, Castle 213.
All right, we have FedEx feeder 7440 coming in from up north, Hancock. Cessna Cargo Master. Last time I shot here, I called that a little putt-putt plane. Not much of a putt-putt with a turboprop. Got that United Express 3917 from Chicago right here. Speaking of United, United announced they are launching increased services to Australia from San Francisco. I can't remember exactly how many flights they're increasing it to from what they already are flying. Melbourne, Sydney are amongst some of the destinations. I believe there might be several flights a day, a few flights a day, or at the very least daily flights. I feel like several flights a day is actually what's going on here. And I guess United is positioning itself to be the largest U.S. carrier servicing down under. So good luck to them there. Right, and here we have American 1733 service Milwaukee to Dallas. Over there, 737-800. Right over here. I believe that is the American Eagle flight from Chicago. The American Eagle. The American Eagle they're taxiing over. Not sure where it's going actually. American 1733, again, Southwest, American 1733, 737, 800 this. Service to Dallas. How many of you have flown in or out of Dallas? If you have, leave a comment below. Love to hear about it. Last time I flew to Dallas was on an American Airlines MD-80. 88, I think. Here we go.
And your 7592, descending your start to maintain 4,000.
And Milwaukee, approach code 3504, requesting direct Aviation for a RyanAir 19 right.
Dallas 3504, what you were requesting is, you want to go out,
Requesting direct Aviation for the RyanAir 19 right.
3504, proceed direct, take it.
Take it, Skyway 3504.
Southwest 859, 737-700 arriving from Dallas. Just saw the American flight leave for Dallas, and we're coming in. Of course, this aircraft is more than likely coming in from Dallas Loves Field. Touch of smoke, and American, of course, going to DFW. right, folks. Well, I think this is going to be a wrap for me this evening. I do want to thank you very much for joining me on this plane spotting adventure here in Milwaukee. If you haven't done so, please feel free to like this video, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notify button so you are aware of any future Milwaukee plane spotting videos. As always, I hope you are happy, healthy, safe, and are flying with ease. Have a wonderful evening or morning, wherever it is and whenever you are watching this. We will see you soon.